A lot of it is a confidence thing. I would say something like really clicked probably like 6 months ago, just like when I solved like a complicated wiring issue that like I couldn't figure out. I was on the job for hours. I don't know, when you solve like a complicated issue like that and you just kind of feel good about it the rest of the day. They're like, hold on, you got to get mic'd up. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, we want to see if we can like catch any audio from while you're doing this. And it's like, I guarantee you, you do not. Like, one guy started talking to me in a baby voice one time.
Hola, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable Trades podcast. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and you like this video. And if you're listening to this on the audio over on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or any other platform, please leave a review. That's all free and it helps support the show and helps it get out to more people. And of course, I'm your host, Adrian Garcia. I am an HVAC technician, licensed contractor here in Texas, and I've been doing this about 18 years. And we just have a lot of good conversations with good people in different trades now, whether it's HVAC, plumbing, electrical. I've had some others in like auto mechanics, anything like that. You bring them on, have a good conversation, and hopefully get more trade awareness out there. So I appreciate everybody who's watched or listened, all the support and making this podcast successful and what it is now. I also want to thank the sponsors of the show, like Jobber, which is a CRM that we use to run our business, which is invoicing, quoting, scheduling jobs, maintenance contracts. It makes it so easy, and all our technicians on our team usually pick it up relatively quickly. I just have to show them what it is and they are able to get out there and start, invoicing everything that needs to be done. I can also update prices, client list, everything remotely, and they have it there on their phone, tablet, or laptop. It's been great running our business with Jobber now, and if you guys want a free trial and discount, make sure to check the link down below, getjobber.com/reliable HVACR. I also want to thank Vito Pro Pack, the best quality bags that money can buy, literally. Spring promotion is the best time of year by far. So check out Vito Pro Pack at your supply house or go to vitopropack.com to learn more. And the podcast is also brought to you by Local. Local HQ is a marketing that is geared towards the trades, and they can help you with your HVAC digital marketing so that you can dominate your local service areas with proven strategies that get your business more leads. They can help you rank higher on Google and all that you would need for your business. So reach out to Local at localhq.com/reliable and mention me or the Reliable Trades podcast and get 2 months of SEO for free. So on today's episode, we have Robin Cutshall, who is the only woman that made the finalist for the HVAC National Championship, which was aired on TV. It's a whole competition where you are tasked with doing a few things, and there's a grand cash prize at the end. So we talk about her journey getting into the trades, how she likes it, what she does, and of course, her experience in competing on national TV with the championship there. But do you think you're a top HVAC technician with the skills to compete against the nation's best? Then you should compete in the HVAC National Championship powered by Train in the Round 1 Digital Challenge. This quick 5-minute multiple choice quiz provided by Nate could be your ticket to winning your share of tens of thousands of dollars and an all expenses paid trip to West Palm Beach, Florida this October. Compete for the coveted title of the 2025 Service Titan HVAC National Champion, which is part of the Service Titan Elite Trades Championship. Don't wait. It's free to enter. Head over to hvacnationals.com before June 30th to compete. All right, Robin, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking the time here and sitting with us.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
So you do HVAC, right? You're in the trades, and then you did this competition thing. But can you give us a quick intro as to who you are, what kind of work you do, and how long you've been into the trades?
So my name's Robin. I'm a service technician, an HVAC service technician, and I've been doing it. I'm on my third year now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what area do you guys service?
I'm in the Portland area. Where the shop is based out of Scappoose, but we go like all over the Portland area. Just probably
So it's
about a
pretty
radius
cold.
of like 50 miles. So,
So do you do primarily like residential or do you do commercial too?
I do residential and light commercial. So
Like
it's like
I
I do up on the roof, but like not.
okay.
It's not like my main
Yeah,
main
I would
area.
consider what I do light commercial because it's like all 10-ton and under. Like it's just RTUs
Hmm.
with they're easy to work on to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you ever been on a roof that's been freshly redone, it's like a white roof. Those are the worst. So
Yeah.
I actually had to get these special extra dark tinted glasses just to help me out on those days. And
Oh Lord.
those are my blacked out ones. And if I f- and I for sometimes I've forgotten them and I have to work up there. And I just get like a migraine at the end of the day there
I
because
bet.
it's just super sunny. The roof is real reflective with the white material and all that. And
Yeah.
those are the long days. Yeah.
You gotta carry some black paint for under your eyes.
Probably should. We
Yeah.
have so here I have to I mean all year round basically. I do wear arm sleeves. I do wear something around my neck. I have those big hats, those sun hats, right? And then the extra dark glasses. I gotta try to cover up as much as I can. Sometimes I do get like burnt, like right here, just whatever's like visible. But
Yeah.
you got to take care of yourself out in the sun because we're out there a good majority of the time.
It's a big factor in the trade, yeah, is being outside all the time. So
Can I ask how old you
we
are?
have to protect ourselves from cold from the cold. I'm 26.
So I I try to tell people that are coming into the trade, stuff like that. Like you need to kind of think about that kind of stuff in the beginning because I thought I was like Superman when I started, and I never wore gloves, any protective gear. I didn't. I was in short sleeves all the time. I would always get sunburnt, and now
Yeah.
I think about it more often, and I don't. I try to protect my body.
Absolutely, yeah. In the summertime, I only started doing it this year, but in the summertime, I put sunscreen on every morning because
Yeah,
I just realized it was, I was coming home from work every day with a fresh new burn. So I'm
and then
pretty,
it's
pretty pale. So,
well, I get sunburned, so then I start peeling, right? And I'm like, man,
mhm.
I gotta start putting on sunblock or something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
tough.
When you're 45, it's not going to be as easy to manage. So just
That's all I'm
practice
thinking
now.
about. I'm in my late
Yeah.
30s, and I'm just thinking about like I need to be a bit more aware of that stuff, and especially just physically, it's demanding too. You competed, I believe, in the HVAC nationals, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah. In
I
the
think I
apprentice division.
this past year was the apprentice one.
Yeah, I did the apprentice,
The
not the.
Yeah, because they have two. The Apprentice, is there like a well you said you've only been in this a few years, right? So there's an apprentice division, I guess you would call it, and then a pro division. But what I was gonna ask, because I was going through my notes right now, there's not a women's division, right? Like they're all mixed, right?
Yeah, they're all mixed. Yeah.
Were you the only woman in that competition?
Yes. Yes.
That is
As far as
pretty.
I've been told, I'm the only woman that's ever competed in the HVAC division. I don't know if that's actually true. I haven't like gone through the past 4
Yeah.
years and looked at it, but that's what they said.
Oh, so the only one. Okay, so it's an honor to have you on the show. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
But it's because I'm finding out about that myself, the HVAC nationals, and they do other trades as well. So I've been getting to know a few of the competitors now, and it's no easy feat because the guy told me that there's thousands. Another guy told me there's thousands of people that apply for this. What was he? I can't remember if he did the apprentice or pro one, but like, what was the process of getting in, like getting selected, or like what did you guys have to do to get into this competition?
So it was like 2 rounds, and then the third round was the final. The first round was just it was just like written questions. It was an online test, and I think they went off of like a
Oh yeah.
percentage of how many that you were able to answer, and whoever got the highest percentage would go on to round two. And then, so I want to say there were over 8,000 people in the first round, and then the
Yeah.
second round was 38. And then for the second round, it was they sent us like a brazing kit. Um, Not like the torches or anything, but we had to braze like a service valve, and then pressure test it and just kind of send pictures in. And they marked you down for like safety and stuff. So if you didn't have like a fire extinguisher next to you,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was the point. Stuff like that. Yeah, it was really fun. I think brazing is one of my strong suits, so it was good.
That's awesome. And
Yeah,
like I said, there's thousands and thousands of people that apply for it. And like I said, I'm finding out about it because I didn't even know there was a competition
yeah.
between HVAC
Are you gonna go for
technicians
it?
and no, I'm good.
Okay.
I skimmed through the videos because like you said, like I'm still going back and trying to find, the previous, the episodes because this stuff is televised and everything. So I'm trying to go through them and watch what it's about. How So then you guys competed there in person, and what was it that you guys had to do?
We had to install like a mock install of a furnace, an electronic air cleaner, and a heat pump. Really,
Mm.
the heat pump part of it was just setting it on the pad. Um, but then like the furnace, the air cleaner, and then like a supply plenum with two like duct runs coming out of it. So
Was there anything
yeah, it
that
was
like caught you off guard that they asked you to do?
not really off guard. It was kind of difficult. Like they gave us the gauge of sheet metal was like tissue paper, which
Oh,
that actually did catch me off guard because you would never use something that thin just like out in the field. They didn't give us um, like pookie tape, which they gave us I don't know, they gave us a TAM 9, right? And then you don't screw into TAM 9s, and
mm,
that was part of the task is to screw into it, but it's made out of plastic. So like
oh,
I don't
okay,
know. I would never do that I
yeah.
would never do that if I was actually installing something. So um that caught me off guard. No tape to kind of cover up your mistakes. It's like that's what we do, you know.
I was gonna say like normally you can get away with however whatever you end up doing, you just tape or pookie over it and like
Exactly.
make it look better.
Exactly. Yeah, there was none of that. So it was a little more like it was a little more technical to like actually make it work. And like to be honest, I did not finish it. I did not finish it. It's
Okay.
like the um yeah,
Well,
I choked a little bit. I did choke a little bit. It was pretty nerve wracking. It's like the
I was
one
gonna
thing
say.
that like
Oh, go ahead.
like the one thing is like it's completely silent in there. It's like the only thing that you can hear is the squeaking of other people's shoes and the other people working. And yeah, it was pretty intense. So
And that's why I am not interested in trying out for that.
yeah.
It looked a little difficult, just you know, because I went back and looked at I think I looked at the one that I had seen was a pro one. So some guy, I want to say he like kinked the pipe or something like that, and then the camera just like zoomed in at the mistake, zoomed in on his face, and then there's a guy there that like commentates or something, right? So he went up to the guy like, "What are you gonna do now?" and this and that. I'm like, "Geez, like I wouldn't be able to do
Leave
that."
them alone. Leave them alone. Give
the
them
guy
some
looked,
space.
the guy looked, like he had an oh crap moment, right? Because you're in a competition, so you got to finish, you got to, get all that done in a certain amount of time, and then you got somebody interviewing you while you made like a really bad mistake.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Was
It's
it nerve wracking, like being watched and videotaped?
Oh yeah. So they have like the production company for actual Service Titan, and then I don't know, one of the other guys that I was competing with were with the same company.
Okay.
And so that company actually hired their own production crew to follow just us two. Um, and we did not know that. And so we have like a 20-minute brief before we go out and do the competition. And the other production crew, as we're getting ready to go out, they're like, hold on, you got to get mic'd up. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, we want to see if we can like catch any audio from while you're doing this. And it's like, I guarantee you, you do not.
You
like,
don't want,
like
yeah, you
this
don't
is,
want that.
yeah, I know. Yeah, so
I was like,
yeah, it was
have
very
you
nerve
ever heard?
wracking.
Yeah, because have you ever heard a tradesperson on a job site? Like it's not audio that you can use.
No, not at all. Yeah, once you start to curse, you put the doors back on the furnace. You know, they can hear you upstairs. I promise you.
Yeah.
so
So you had twice the crew. You had a company crew and then at the competition. And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the whole thing. Like you're on the you're on television basically. You're on this big platform, and that makes it even more difficult. I think some guys probably made mistakes that they probably wouldn't in the field because of the eyes that are on them.
yeah. It's like having somebody looking over your shoulder the whole time, and which is fine if you can like have a conversation with them while you do it, but make everybody a little more comfortable. But it was not that scenario at all. If a homeowner's looking over my shoulder, sometimes I can go ask him to go grab me something. Like, hey, do you got any paper towels? You know, that gives me a couple-minute break. Yeah,
I also want to thank Diversitech. They simplify your work. They have everything a contractor needs to complete a job. That goes from equipment mounting, condensate, management, tools, maintenance chemicals, electrical components, indoor air quality, and much more. They have different branches under the same umbrella. More than likely, you're already using some of their products or tools. So go check out diversitech.com, and it's your one-stop shop for everything HVAC. I've gotten a lot of compliments on these line set penetration covers. They're basically, when you get an install done, you have the line set coming out the house or whatever a wall you came out of. You normally have to put like foam spray or cover it up somehow. Eric's has these covers that just look professional, and I like the form factor. I've seen others and they're a little bit too bulky. This one, it just gives you what you need. They have two different models. If you need a slimmer one, they have that too. And what I really like is they finally have now one for existing line sets. Now it's two pieces, and you kind of just put them together over the line set and then mount it and drill it in. And it's a good selling point to make an existing install look better. I've gotten so many compliments, like I said. So make sure you go over to ericsmfg.com and check them out. So how was that whole experience for you?
oh, it was great. It was great. I had a lot of fun. I was down there for a week. I was there for a few days before the competition. My company really wanted me to get my head in the game, which was nice. And I went down to the Everglades, which yeah, which is cool. Got to see some alligators. Yeah, I'm from Oregon, so I've never seen an
Oh,
alligator.
okay. Yeah.
And then yeah, the actual competition, it was honestly just a lot of build up, and then we did it, and it was done, and we all just kind of hung out afterwards, and we got to watch the other competitions. Like I watched the electrical one, and a lot of interviews afterwards. It's like I think probably like 7 people wanted to just like interview all of us and see what we
Mm,
thought. And we had a lot of thoughts. We had a lot of specifically, it's like we were all service techs
yeah.
doing an install competition, which was kind of
Yeah.
interesting. So,
I was gonna say, like, even for me, I learned install like at school, so I kind of know the gist of it and the tools and everything, but I don't offer that at our business. Like we mostly do service and repairs and maintenance. So
Mm,
if I got thrown into that, and even at that, like every region is different. My area only does duct board, which I know not a lot of people like.
mm,
That's all I see here, a lot of duct board. And
mm.
for me to go somewhere and it's like, oh, we're gonna do sheet metal, I would have been like, I don't know what to do here because I was never even taught that. I was taught
Yeah.
on duct board. You're a service technician. Is that what you prefer? Like, have you ever done any install?
I started out as an installer, yeah. Yeah, I started out as an installer, and honestly, I just kind of grinded for however long. And my brother and my sister-in-law's heat pump went out, and I really, really wanted to help them out. And it's like um, like while I was installing, I was honestly just learning everything that I possibly could. And so 9 months in, my brother's heat pump went out, and I
Mm,
installed over 2 days. I did a gas furnace and a heat pump, completely solo, and that felt pretty good. It
yeah,
still works to this day, 2 years later. So
there you go.
yeah, that was. And then after that, they started putting me on my own installs, which is really cool. And not long after that, they just wanted me to go into service, um,
So
which
can we backpedal a little bit? Like, how did you get into the trades? Like, because
uh,
that's not usually a career path that somebody takes. So what got you interested or what got you in?
I was a server. I was like a caregiver and a server and all of that, and I honestly got kind of bored. It's like I was in college for 5 years, and I always thought I was going to be like an engineer or a doctor or whatever. But it got to the point that I had to pay for college myself, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't really want to do that. So I just kind of fiddled around for a couple of years and decided I needed to like actually learn something. I was a welder in high school,
Oh, okay.
and I didn't want to go back into welding just because it's really hard on your body, and like the fumes from welding can really mess you up over a few years. So my brother actually recommended that. He's like, hey, give HVAC a try. And there was an opening in the town, in one town over. So I applied, and they called me back almost immediately, which is cool. So
So
so here I am now.
with no experience, they gave you
Mhm.
a shot.
Yeah, I started out as a helper, and
Okay.
just kind of worked my way up. So
Yeah, I always hear different, different stories doing this podcast, but when you get a chance, it's always a cool thing because then you can get into it, learn on the job, and get your foot in the door that way. So then,
absolutely, yeah, they
if
took a
your
chance on
brother,
me, and I'm really grateful. So
that's all you need sometimes, right?
yeah.
You're not gonna know a lot when you get into it because everybody starts somewhere. So
Mhm.
that's a complaint that I get with other guys. They're like that they really want to, and I just tell them, keep looking because they really want to get into the trade, but nobody will hire without experience wherever they're at. And I'm like, I know that. I'm like, that sucks. Obviously you don't. Somebody needs to give you a chance for you to get experience. I'm like, how else do you get that, right? So,
Yeah.
I always tell them just keep looking, keep looking. I know somebody needs um, help, right? I mean, everybody needs help at some point. So
Mhm.
it's a good trade to get into and all that. Was your brother, since he told you about HVAC, was him or any of your family in HVAC before?
No,
No.
no, my brother's also a server.
Oh, okay.
No, no,
So you
yeah, he
never
just he
had,
just wanted me to give it a shot. He's like, I hear it's really good money. So
so he's like, I hear it's fun. It's good money. So, so
yeah,
then growing
no.
up, you never had, anybody in the trades in the family or anything?
My dad was a machinist. At It's called like Rockwell Collins. I want to say they manufacture airplane parts. So yeah,
Oh,
he was
okay.
in the trade. Yeah, yeah.
And then you said you got into welding. Was that like a interest of yours or you just kind of fell into it?
my we had a welder at home, and my dad told me that he would like teach me how to weld if I took the metal shop class at the high school, and so I did, and then we started making like we would cut up propane tanks and make them
Okay.
into metal drums, um, and then we would sell them on the internet. So
Oh, okay. Little
yeah,
hustle there.
yeah, it was my hustle, yeah. So that's how I
Yeah, but
got good at welding.
oh, that's awesome. And that's why you
That's cool.
like brazing too, right? Like I
Yeah, that's
bl- kind of bled over to what you do over here on the HVAC side, which is like soldering and brazing.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Um,
fun. Like playing with hot metal.
how many like and we all learn from mistakes and all that. I can imagine you've had some little injuries here and there with the brazing because it just reminded me right now you said hot metal because somebody, there's these trade shows that happen every now and then. Somebody was demoing, and it was a friend of mine actually demoing like the hot block. What is it? Hot block or wet rag putty. Like there's a putty that you put on the pipes. I don't know if you use it or not. And he was trying to demonstrate like, oh, it keeps the other side cool, right? He was like heating up one side of the copper. Well,
Yeah.
no, he accidentally went and touched the side that he torched. And then he's like, oh,
Oh
and
no.
he caught it on camera and he still posted it. I was like, dude, you need to be careful. Wear some damn gloves.
That's crazy. It's a wet rag. That poor guy.
Yeah, the wet rag, and there's another one, hot block, I think. So I
Gotcha.
try to
That's
use them
like
as much as I can, but I still use a bucket of like water and ice with rags, and I'll just keep throwing it on there.
absolutely. I've used like the wet rag before. I don't mind it. I don't think it does as good of a job as I was promised. Um, as like I had one. I really had like a lot on there, and it I don't know if my
It's
torch was too hot or what, but it just immediately started burning. So it it
I
did
use
not
it.
do what I wanted it to
I
do.
try to I try to use it on the valves, whatever valves I'm putting in, but like I'm still conscious about like being quick about it because I'm like eventually
Yeah,
that thing's gonna get hot, right? So I don't know. You learn as you
all that
go.
time.
Yeah, especially
Yeah,
on the longer ones. What do you use as your torch setup? Do you use a traditional oxyacetylene turbo torch?
yeah. I see settling with the what number? It's the number one. It's not the rosebud tip. It's the
Oh,
single
okay.
one.
Yeah,
I
I
tried
think
to
I
use
was
the
using
rosebud one.
yeah.
Yeah, it burnt. Is that 3/8 copper? You can't use that. So
No, I think I would stick to like a number 2 and I just used it for everything, but the and I used that forever. Just always kept the same tip. I never changed it out. I know you're supposed to like if you're working on different sizes. I was like, "No, I'm just going to use that." And then I got into like the rosebuds and there was another one, like one of the hook ones too. I was trying them out
yeah, yeah.
and it was overkill for what I do. So I ended up burning some copper too.
Yeah,
And you go
it's
through
how
it
you
pretty quick.
learn. Yeah,
Yeah. So I was like, no, I'll just go back to my smaller tip. But
yeah.
no, I was asking because a lot of residential guys like to use a turbo tank, and I'm like, nah, I can't. Like, I'll use
Like the
it.
single, like the blowtorch one. Is
Yeah,
that what that
like
is?
it's just your acetylene tank, and then the handle itself brings in like fresh air to be the oxygen. So you can use just an acetylene tank to do your brazing and all that, but it is super loud. It has like a whistling noise, and it gets really hot around everything else. So like if you're working around wires or anything like that, even if it's like a foot behind, it's gonna melt it. So
Yeah,
I
that
had
doesn't
one I
sound
used.
residential friendly.
I don't know. Some guys love to use the turbo tank, and I'm like, I'm good. I'll take up the oxyacetylene and just deal with it. I know it weighs a lot, but it gives the best flame, and it's just wherever you put it.
Yeah, you have more control over it, I would think. I don't know. I've never seen anybody use the turbo tank, but if it's getting that hot, that doesn't sound good.
I've worked with guys, and I've gone like there recently. I went behind somebody, or like they called me in, and I'm like, I can tell somebody else has been here, and there was a little braze joint. I guess it was leaking, and they tried to patch it. and it is just covered in these little itty bitty pieces. It looks like all this like clump up of a brazing rod or something. They were just trying to go at it, and some people
Did they
just,
try to go at it while it's under pressure?
I have no idea. It was either under pressure or because like I've seen it before. Like it was either under pressure or they didn't have enough heat on it, right? I don't know if it was
Mm-hmm.
somebody with just a propane tank. I've seen that before too. They think brazing is the same as soldering, and then they just kind of like go at it. And I'm like, I can tell. I was like, we gotta cut that out and redo that.
Yeah, I love going up onto a job that has silver solder on it. It's like,
I've seen
what's
that
that gonna
before,
hold?
and yeah, there is one, and some people swear by it. Stay bright something. It's like a silver solder for refrigeration, and I
Mm.
still don't. I can't trust it. I don't know. I'd rather braise everything.
Yeah, yeah, I'd rather braid just because like silver solder is for plumbing. They're not under 500 psi, so
Well, that's what I mean. They
not.
make one specifically for refrigeration, but I still am like iffy about it.
Yeah, well, they made the Python pipe specifically for refrigeration too. So
Well,
sometimes you just gotta. Have you heard of the
yeah.
Python pipe?
I was gonna
Yeah,
say I had an email from somebody that wanted me to check them out, and I think I saw somebody use them. I had to look it up. I was like, how does this last? Like I don't know. Like I've seen people install them. I just don't know what the longevity is on it. Um,
we had a meeting about it. It was like an hour and a half. We thought it was really cool during the meeting. They're like, look, you can't kink it, and we all tried, and of course that one guy managed to kink it by like wrenching down on it, we're like, stop it, and we did one install with it, and if I remember correctly, the like it didn't split like around it, it split down the middle. It just ruined the whole. It lasted like 3 months, and if I remember correctly, that's the only job we've ever done with it. So, and I'm pretty sure they're getting sued. So
oh,
that's
maybe
not,
that's why I haven't seen them anymore.
yeah.
For
And
yeah, because I
we can
said
look it up. I mean, I don't think they install with it anymore. So
yeah, I was gonna say like I heard about it a while back, and there's always new things, and I don't know if it's like DIY centered, easier install, whatever it is. Have you guys ever
yeah,
used like the press fittings? Like
yeah,
any
we
other
use press
brands?
fitting.
See
Yeah, we use press fitting. Oh.
that one I have RLS, so I've tried it a few times already, and I've been impressed with it.
Yeah, I'm trying. Is RLS the brand of it?
Yeah, there's
Rapid Lock
RLS.
System.
Yeah, yeah, there's RLS, and then there's Zoom Lock Max, and I think there's
Oh, we use
Mueller.
Zoomlock.
Okay.
We use
So
Zoomlock.
like
Yeah.
I was skeptical on that one, but I put it in because I got it in, I tried it out. Obviously it's rated for whatever it's rated, and as long as you install it right, all that kind of stuff. But I work on freezers, right? So I was like, I reached out to them. I'm like, if I put this in a freezer where it's like, you know, 0 degrees, the temperature might fluctuate here and there. Like, am I okay? And they said, yes, I've already installed it in more than a handful of freezers and stuff, and I've never had issues with it. So that was
Nice.
one like I wanted to try out for myself, and if it works, we'll keep using it. If we get a leak, I'll throw that thing in the trash. But it's all
Are
how
you the
you.
owner of your company?
Oh yeah, me and my dad run our own business, but my dad does cooking
Oh,
equipment, so restaurant like fryers, ovens, and things like that. And then I do the HVAC side of it.
cool, cool. Nice. How long have you guys been in
Yeah,
business?
we're going on 18 years. It feels
Heck yeah,
weird.
nice.
It
Very
feels weird
cool.
saying that I've been doing this almost 20 years, but yeah, I'm up there now.
Did you start? You started as a young man, like at 18?
Like at 20, because I, well, yeah, I've been doing it like 17 years, but,
Nice, nice.
um, he started the business right before I got into it. Now, yeah, when I finished high school, I took a year off. I'm not a school person. I never,
Yeah.
I did well, And, you know, my parents were always on me about my grades and all that. And I was like, oh, I just wanted to pass and get out of there. And I had to take a break after high school because I didn't want to go straight into college. I didn't even know what the hell I wanted to do. And I thought about electrical engineer. That's kind of what I was looking into because I liked electronics and taking things apart, stuff like that. And then I went to school for that. I had a grocery store job and all that. And then my dad started his business. And then I got into it because I was good with computers and stuff like that. I
There you
helped
go.
him on the back end, right? The business side of it, the branding, the logos, all that kind of stuff before I even got into the trade. So that's how I started mine. And then it's I think I started around 20. So like I said, I'm 17 years in, going on 18. I also want to thank our new sponsors, CallRail. So I've been more into marketing and just online presence with our business. Even though we only do commercial, word of mouth is really good for any business. But once you get to a place where you want to be, a big name online or just anywhere, be recognizable, like I said, online presence, have a nice website, be able to be searchable in Google and all these different search engines, and just have a big presence. You need to know where to spend your money. And all I'm going to say is that CallRail can help you track that if that's something that you're interested in. CallRail can tell you, hey, these are not working so much. These are working really good. Stop spending your money here. Put more money and effort into this. And just be smarter about what you spend. So make sure you go by callrail.com. They do have a no risk free trial and you can check it out for yourself. I also want to thank another new sponsor, Residio. Basically, they help with a sustainable home and they make it a safer, cleaner, and smarter home. They have so many things that work together. They were showing me the new thermostats that they have going on, how it's implemented together, and all these different little, smart devices that connect and talk to each other. So if you want to learn more, head over to residio.com and check it out for yourself. But yeah, it's family business. We've been doing pretty well. And I went to
Good,
school
good.
for it.
Okay.
My brother went to school for it. So, we got a head start there.
Would you recommend people go to school or not go to school for it?
It really depends. So you didn't do any schooling, right? You learned everything on the job?
Yeah.
Was it difficult for you to learn like I mean
Yeah.
everybody, what was that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was pretty tough.
cuz not only do you have to learn, cuz like for me, I learned in school how to hook up gauges, how to check superheat, the lingo,
Mhm.
right? Like actually understanding these terms. And then when I got into the trade, the hardest part was like learning how to use the tools because I never used a drill before. I was never that kind of handyman before the trades. So that was the hardest part
Yeah.
for me. And then the customer service was hard for me. I don't like talking. So I don't know why I do this
And here you
podcast.
are as a
That's a
podcast
whole
host?
that's a whole other thing.
All right, okay.
But I never liked talking to the customer. I was always like, I can do the job, I can get in and out, but I had to learn the customer service part later.
Yeah.
So that was difficult for
Yeah,
me.
that's
Like
super
for
hard.
you, like how long, well, you said 9 months in you did an install, but like how long did it take you to grasp like what you were doing so you could be on your own?
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting question because I've been on my own for like I want to say at least a year and a half now. And it didn't really click to me. It's like for the first like 6 months, I was on the phone constantly. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
like
um,
you're doing a job and you need some help. That's always a, if you know somebody to
yeah,
call or you work somewhere where you can, get some help on that. That's always a big thing.
yeah. It's a lot of it is a confidence thing. It's like a lot of the times I was just calling people to just kind of confirm. It's like this is what I'm
Oh,
seeing, and this is what I think is going on. I just need somebody to say yes. I need somebody to sign off on that. This is what Robin thinks, and this is also what I think on it. So, um, like as far as like grasping it, um, I would say something like really clicked probably like 6 months ago, just like when I solved like a complicated wiring issue that like I couldn't figure out. I was on the job for hours, and then I finally figured out that the the defrost control was not kicking in the auxiliary heat. And
Mm,
it wasn't that it was wired wrong. It wasn't anything like that. It was intermittent. It wasn't doing it all the time. So it's like
okay.
it's just like when you, I don't know, when you solve like a complicated issue like that, and you just kind of feel good about it the rest of the day, and then
Yeah.
you do it, and it just, yeah, just stuff like that.
I think I've talked about that with actually the probably who I recorded with this morning. Like that's a reward factor about this trade, right? Like being able to figure out problems and getting a unit working for a customer and helping them out. And that's kind of what I enjoy about this is the constant challenge, problem solving, and all that. Different and then different equipment every day, right? It's a different problem every day. It's a different thing every day.
Yeah, yeah. Yesterday, so we actually just hired another woman. And she was riding along with me yesterday, and it was really, really cool because I remember this feeling back when like
Yeah.
the first time that it happened is that the igniter was bad on a furnace. It was like an older couple, and I was just like kind of hovering over her shoulder, making sure she was going through the right steps. It's like, yeah, the igniter's not turning on, but do you have voltage to it? All that sort of stuff, and simple fix. We put an igniter in, and she saw it glow up. She saw the igniter glow, and
Mm.
she was so happy. She was just like she was glowing, and it's just like I remember that feeling when you like fix something and you've never done it
Yeah.
before. So
And
I think
I've
that
been
was really
down I've been down that that rabbit hole too of just needing confirmation because like I always say I had a head start or I had the benefit of schooling and then I did have somebody when we started that helped us out that did the refrigeration work and I would ride along and learn a little bit from him and I still use some of his tricks that he taught me to this
Mhm.
day. So I'm thankful for all of that. But like even myself, having school experience, those for me it took me longer. I always tell people it took me like several years for it to click because I don't think I was confident either when I started
Yeah.
and then sometimes you call and I'm like, I figured out this, and this. I'm like, it has to be this. Like, I know you're just talking to somebody and they're like, yeah, you figured it out. Like, why are you calling me for? And it's like, I
Yeah.
just want confirmation. I don't want to
Yeah.
mess
Right.
up.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Not You don't want to mess up, and like, do you do residential a little bit? You do refrigeration mostly.
I do a lot of commercials, so well, I would consider it
Uh,
like commercial, like restaurants, hospitals, a lot of things like that.
yeah, I think on the residential side, it's like if you mess something up, it's like, or if you're not like completely sure about something, it's like you're not talking to like a maintenance person about what you
Yeah,
found. You're not talking to somebody that has to approve like a quote. You're talking directly to a homeowner. And if you're not 100% confident about what you're saying, like they know.
yeah.
And that my biggest fear is not being wrong. My biggest fear is screwing somebody over. like,
Oh yeah.
nobody likes that.
No, it's a good way
So
to look at it too. Like, not that you're wrong, but you don't want to screw them over. Because
yeah.
there's a lot of those companies that you know that's all they do.
Yeah, I think there's an important responsibility for people to do the due diligence on making sure that they're right, because there is a huge it's like you take your car to the mechanic and they're like, "Oh, you need an engine flush or all of this stuff," and you're like, it's like you're trying to sell me on something. And I think that there's a general distrust of people working in the trade. Um,
Yeah,
and it's up to the people that are honest and aren't trying to sell you something to like kind of bring that name to something that's like respectable. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
not saying that tradespeople are not respectable, but it's
There's
just
just bad
that.
apples. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
just bad apples because especially in today's world where homeowners are looking up parts or YouTube videos, all that stuff comes to light. And my whole thing is, I've always tried to be as honest, and I got that from my dad. Like, he's the one that I would call because he used to be an electrician and now he does like the food service stuff. So my weakest point was always the electrical part. I didn't understand. It took me a while to understand like switches and safeties and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I would usually call for, right? I'm like, I don't understand how this works. I don't understand like where I'm losing the power, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like he always taught me, just be honest with the customer. Like if you get stuck, it's going to take you a little bit longer. Just let them know that. Don't beat around the bush. Don't try and just, replace, we've run into guys that we hire and they just want to replace everything or replace all the parts. And then, luckily one of them gets the unit running, whatever it is. And I'm like, no, like just take the time and go through it. Right. Like you build up habits doing the same work over and over. And it just takes a few more minutes to start from point A to point B. Like go to your sequence of operation, go through all the electrical and just double check your work. I always say, double check or triple check and make sure that you're confident in that diagnosis.
Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah,
That
there you
sort of
go.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
That's why
yeah.
that's why I take a little bit longer, but I have to make sure that I get it right.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Like as far as like replacing stuff, I usually keep tester parts on my
Yeah,
van. If I
I do
think
that
that it's
too.
that, I can just put it in, and then I know. And it takes a while to figure out that that's what you need to do, but that's what you need to do. It's
That's like a
like if
little
you think that is wrong, put a different thermostat on before you tell them. Like,
that's a little like hack there for anybody listening, because I actually had someone else that I talked to about it and they mentioned that too, and I'm like, hey, I do that too. I'll have some parts and I'll kind of mark on them like why they're bad or why we replaced it or whatever it is, but they actually do function for the most part. And I can at least either do that, put in a used part to check it. Like you said, maybe you can't tell without replacing it, or, bypassing. Sometimes we'll bypass some safeties or switches or whatever. So like there's different ways
yeah,
to test it, but that's a good, I've told people to do that too. Like you might want to keep those old parts sometimes, because sometimes they're not completely bad. You might be replacing it for a different reason or whatever, but it's good to have these little test parts on you sometimes.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wish we could have like test like secondary heat exchangers, but you can't do that, unfortunately. I actually I had a huge win a couple of weeks ago. I diagnosed my first like plugged secondary,
Okay.
which is not a fun conversation to have with anybody, but but his pressure switch was bad. And so I just bypassed the pressure switch, and I had a tester one with me, and I made
Mm,
sure that it was pressure switch, and I just ran it through the rest of the sequence to make sure that everything else was working fine. And I started smelling just like this awful smell, and it just smelled like burnt garbage.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know about that. It's like a neighbor must be like burning something, and I grabbed my CO meter, and
Mm,
there's kind of some debate about like what levels should be in a flue pipe or whatever, but I'm walking around this dude's house, and on the sidewalk next to his house it's 40 ppm. And I look onto his roof, and I'm not even joking. There's a squirrel on top of the roof that's just like laying down, and I'm like, what is that? What is that squirrel doing?
yeah.
And he had like no fear in his eyes, and I realized it's just like jumping out of the exhaust, and um, so it's
Yeah.
never fun to shut somebody's furnace down, but you can't really test that without pulling it out. And we kept the furnace, and I'm actually going to cut it open next week so that we
Okay.
can see like the inside of what was causing that, and then why it's important to set gas pressures and
Yeah.
all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
See,
So
we don't do a lot of heating here. It's hot. Like I said,
oh, that's completely, I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
when it gets cold here, it's like, we just turn off the AC because it's like fresh outside, honestly. Every now and then we got to turn on the heater for a couple days, but that's about it. But everybody here's been converting to electric. So we have a lot of electric heat now, to where, when I started, I did dabble into like the whole heat exchangers and gas heating and all that. And I don't really see it that much anymore. So I mean, I'm not super familiar with it, but like that's not something we see a lot. It's all electric here, and um, I just put in a mini split, so that's like a heat pump. So I think we're gonna get into more heat pumps. I've seen a couple of them on the commercial side. They put in like a RTU heat pump, so that I think they're just gonna go straight to that pretty soon. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's pretty
I see,
regional, right?
yeah, HVAC is a super regional thing. Everybody in different states has different, things that they see. So it's that's always interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen guys, and I like to watch, like when I watch anybody like on Instagram or YouTube that does residential, because I don't do that, and then that does heating calls because I don't do that. So I like watching that kind of stuff. And I've seen like it's pretty crazy how some people, like you said, it's pretty important to read those things, right? Like the carbon monoxide, the all the readings that you need, your flue pipe, checking all that, making sure that's all done correctly, because people live in that house. That is a
Mm-hmm.
dangerous thing to have that's not properly installed, or that's leaking or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm always surprised at some of the ones that people find, like the heat exchangers. They have holes all over the place, but it's been running like that, right? Not until that
Yeah.
technician went in there to pull it out, because they knew something was up, and nobody else said anything, but they pulled it out, and there's these big gaps in there. And honestly, like you said, they feel bad, but they got to shut it down, because you can't, in
Mm-hmm.
good conscience, leave that running like that.
Absolutely. I always tell them it's like nobody likes to receive good news, or sorry, nobody likes to receive bad news, but I would rather give you bad news than like for something bad to happen to you,
Yeah.
because I let this continue to run. So I'm going to shut the gas off, and I'm going to shut the power off. What you do after I leave is up to you, but I
Yeah.
highly advise you not to. Um, well, that's usually how I handle it. Not everybody like takes it very well, you know. It's
There's only so much you can do, because even in the commercial world, if I find something that is just, it's beyond repair, or it's dangerous, because we see a lot of electrical, like a weird stuff on the electrical where they leave disconnects hanging, or disconnects are
mm,
bypassed. I see a lot of weird stuff, and I'm like, you know what, this is a little dangerous. We're gonna shut it down. And like you said, if they do something while I'm gone, I mean, there's nothing I can do, but I'm gonna shut it down, and on my invoice, some whatever repair needs to be made, I can't run it until we do that repair. So I always tell them. And again, I was really bad at customer service when I started. I hated having those conversations and things like that. But now I'm more confident. I'm telling them, for your safety and mine, we're gonna shut that down. Any issues, being a woman in the trades? I've had a few on here. Some have good experiences, some have bad. Have you run into any issues with that, especially being residential?
nothing too awfully crazy. I mean, there's plenty of like uncomfortable like moments, and I try not to focus on those because I get that question a lot. It's like
Yeah.
I get that question probably every day, and this might sound like kind of cocky, but like probably every day I get somebody like an older woman being like, "Oh, it's so cool to see a woman in the trade." And I like to focus a little bit more on that than I do like the older men being kind of weird with me. Um, Like somebody, like this one guy started talking to me in a baby voice one time, which was really, really uncomfortable.
Oh,
That's the only house I've ever refused to go back to.
okay.
But I like to focus on, like, if I walk into a woman's house who's like in her 50s and she's just like so like happy and shocked that there's a young woman in her house instead of
That's
like
cool.
a 30 to 40-year-old man. I think it's really cool because they it's the year of the woman. It's
Yeah.
we get to kind of prove ourselves in the trades, and it's still a long way to go.
Just because I'm on social media a lot, like doing what I do, I've come across a lot of women that are posting their installs, their work, construction stuff. I'm like, my God, like they are doing way more stuff than I can even, do myself. So it's cool to see. And even myself, I have a son and a daughter, and 11 and 9. That my daughter is super into what I do. She's curious about everything. She'll go when I'm cleaning my van out, she'll go over there and grab some screwdrivers and pretend to fix something. So I'm like, hey, if
Nice.
they want to learn, well, I'm gonna make them learn some skills. Like I want them to be, be able to change a tire, be able to do stuff around the house. Those kinds of skills are always important. And if either one of them wants to get into the trades, I would show them how to do some basic stuff and do with that what they want. But it's cool to see because
Yeah. I think that's the cool part of the trades is just like if you know how to work on somebody else's house, you know how to work on your own house. And as far as like the social media, like seeing like women do stuff, I don't follow it for HVAC, but I do watch a lot of like DIY renovations
hmm
on Instagram and stuff. And that stuff is it's always so cool to me because like I don't own a house, but when I do own a house, I want to be able to tile my own backsplash.
yeah.
And I see a lot of that, which is really cool. And like being able to do that instead of paying somebody else to do it and you have a little more creative freedom, it's kind of what it's all about. So,
And that's why I said like when I started, I was not real handy, not good with tools. That was kind of the thing that I had to learn. And after I got into the trades, and I got into it kind of young, right? I started working
mhm.
on my own car and fixing things on my cars and stuff like that. And then uh, doing things around the house, electrical and all that kind of stuff. And, it goes a long way because I'm partial to HVAC, but I think we do a lot of, different skills in our trade to where we're kind of well rounded.
I think it's a very well rounded trade. I was telling somebody yesterday, my coworker, it's like like the term jack of all trades is like it very much like that
Yeah.
HVAC encompasses that phrase just because like we do plumbing, electrical, the actual HVAC part of it. We do landscaping when we're installing. We've got it all kind of going for us. So
Yeah. I was going to say, like, everybody has something, right? There's always obstacles or things that you have to go through, and you can always turn it around in your favor. And then, you
yeah.
know, it works out. So, we've been here almost an hour. I don't want to keep you too long. Do you have any? I know you said you were training somebody up. So, do you have any advice for people getting into the trades or, starting out?
Just keep asking questions, as I even just keep asking questions, even if you think that you're annoying people, or if you think you're annoying people, you're not. If you are annoying them, then they don't remember what it was like to not know what they were doing. And that's on them, not you. Just keep asking questions until you're confident doing it, and yeah, that's about it. Always stay curious. Always stay curious. I'll give them
Yeah, because you're gonna learn. I'm still learning. Going on 18 years, and that's what keeps everybody, or that's what keeps the good technicians apart from everybody else. Is the ones that keep learning, learn after work, look up things, care about what you're doing. Like you said, be curious and ask questions because that's how I was too. Like if I figured out something or if I was with somebody, I was like, how and why, right? Why did you do that? How does that work? I need to know like front to back how that system, works and things like that. So that's always good to know.
Absolutely. Sometimes too, sometimes you will get bad advice. You will absolutely get unreliable information from somebody. So just keep asking questions after that too.
I, I've told people like, even the people that you see online that are like educators and things like that, like just double check, right? Like fact check
Yeah.
everybody, get advice from different people, see what you can get out of those
Yeah.
conversations or whatever videos you watch. And, cause somebody might have bad information. It happens. And
Mhm.
my whole thing, see, that's why for me, it was good that I went to school because I did work with some of those guys that had the bad habits, had the wrong information, or did things the wrong way. And I was like, well, I was taught this way in school. I know that's not the right
Mm.
way to do it. So I had some pushback, with some older guys in the beginning. But, when I did my own calls, I did it the way I was taught or the way I knew was right. And might have taken me an extra hour or two, whatever, but I did it, the right way. So
Yeah.
there's always bad habits or bad information. Just double check everything. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down, and it's awesome to hear that you were, a finalist in that national competition that I didn't even know about till recently. And being in the top 10 as a woman, that's awesome.
Thank you. It was a huge honor. So no, thank you for having me. This is a good little conversation, not an interrogation. So
Yeah, I hope you, I hope you felt good about it and enjoyed it because I thought it was a really good conversation.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. I always like
Every,
talking HVAC. So
that's always my thing is I can talk HVAC for a pretty long time and not get tired of it. So, love what you do. That's what you got to do.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh, I appreciate everybody for watching and listening, and thanks you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.